Hello and welcome to the Hugh Hatrick Show with a F1 season special, the first of hope many more to come. And I have two wonderful guests who have come from all over the UK. It is, of course, Simon Jerry in CF1. Hello.
Hello,
Good to
mate. How
see
you
you.
doing?
Very well indeed. Very well indeed. And of course, we have Roo. Good to see you, Roo.
Hello.
There we are. Well, wherever you're watching from, it's a warm welcome here from the northeast of England and the rest of the UK. It is good to see you. And of course, this is our F1 review. Now, you might think, well, it's a bit late. We've done most of the season, but the season has now become quite exciting, isn't it? It's really kind of come to a position where there could be three drivers that could potentially win the World Championship. And we thought we would talk about all the kind of some of the highlights of the year and what we think will happen over the next few races. There's only 4 races left to go, plus 2 sprints as well. So we will see. Now we have Simon, of course, who is an encyclopedia of Formula One knowledge and Grand Prix history. And he's not even nodding there when I said that, but that's all right.
2014.
And of course, we've got Roo and myself, who are just, I would say we are definitely big Formula One fans, but we've struggled over the last 4 years, ever since that famous day in Abu Dhabi 2021. Cannot mention that name, that time, but I'm sure for all you in the comment and all you watching out there on YouTube, let us know your thoughts on the F1 season so far and who you're supporting. And also, you can put your questions to us at any time at all, and we will do our best to answer them. But first of all, I will come to our special guest, Simon. Pagan Ant is here, and Cars Ian is here. Good to see you. Simon, what are your kind of top highlights of the season so far? And then what's been your high points of the year?
Cool, that's a struggle. As you know, I don't have Sky, so I don't get to watch them live. I always have to watch the highlights. So even the highlights sometimes are a bit of a struggle.
Yeah.
It's just the fact, I don't know, if I remember right, I think the British Grand Prix was pretty good this year.
Yeah.
It was
British
all right.
Grand Prix.
So I got to see that one live. But you know, Monaco's a real low point these days. Just the problem is the size of the cars that's causing the big problem.
Yeah, they're very big, aren't they?
They're huge, and you know, even on the bigger tracks, you can see where the problems are. I mean, look at, for example, what happened at Austin in the US.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a big wide track. They come up to that corner at the top there. I mean, you should be able to go 3 or 4 wide there, but then as soon as someone goes slightly different, it causes a complete knockout. You know, because of the size of them, they're all over the place. It's knocking around and dominoes, and it's, you know, I don't know. There is a change coming next year. I can see they're going to be slightly smaller, and you know, aero's changing again, but I just wish they'd get rid of DRS. I really would. They would, or they need to adapt it.
Is that not supposed to be going for next year? I heard somebody say that DRS is on its way.
Right, if it does, it does. It's good because, like I've always said, with motorsport in general, overtaking is not necessarily the exciting bit. Yeah. It's the racing and trying to get past someone. When I used to watch in the 90s, yes, there wasn't necessarily not a lot of overtaking, but it's drivers using their skill, trying to outwit the other driver, finding ways to get past. You know, nowadays they can just flick a switch, press a button, and they just breeze past. And you know, it's very it's gone to American audiences more than us now.
Yeah,
it's shifted big time.
Do you turned it into Indy cars? They've practically turned it into Indy cars. Safety cars all the time. It doesn't matter who's at the front. They want the race gets reset, and then people going, oh, but it's jeopardy. It's we'll bunch them up again, and we'll see action. So what's the point of having the previous 50 laps? Why just have a 10-lap race? If that's what you want, have a 10-lap race and then go home. Why?
I remember playing a match of bowls like that. We were God knows how many down. We swapped positions. We got back to level for the last end and lost it by 1 shot. I just thought, why didn't we just play one? And that was a final. And I thought, why didn't we just play one end instead of going through all that? You know, it was so depressing. It was unbelievable. You can see where you're coming from. It's Yeah, I mean, I don't like sprint races. They're pretty pointless. The most pointless edition in F1. I don't think any of the drivers like them.
Pagan made a great comment there. He says we should take over NASCAR and make them do more bends as punishment. That's a brilliant fun. I've actually got the NASCAR game, and it's quite good fun, actually. It's crazy, though. You just get taken out everywhere, but it is quite funny. It is quite a laugh when you do multiplayer. But yeah, no, that's the thing. Now, see, I put in a question just there a minute ago. Do you think they should be allowed to move more than once under braking? Because that's what they used to do.
Anyway.
Yeah. But yeah, they do. I mean, they do anyway. I mean, I was looking at old race, and if you can go back to the '92 Monaco Grand Prix, Senna would have been given I don't know how many penalties. He'd have been disqualified. The way he was literally stopping in front of Mansell, and even Hunt goes, well, he almost came to a complete stop there. I mean, he used the rules that were within the rule book at the time. He put his car in the place where it needed to be. Mansell was 6 seconds at that quicker. But if he puts in a track like that, you put your car in the right place. He wasn't a Prost who would just stick to the racing line, and if you got him, you've got him. And he won't do a lot of defending against someone like Mansell. But Senna will. Senna, and I think Verstappen's of exactly the same breed. If you want to overtake, it's up to, as Brandel always used to say, it's up to you whether we crash or not.
That's a Brundle quote, isn't it?
And I think
his attitude was
exactly
I'm
the
going
same.
here, and it's up to you whether we come out. We both come out of it.
And I'm not trying to diss Verstappen. He's a great driver. He'll come down as one of the greats because how he's kept himself in this title fight this year has been pretty impressive, because that car for the first half of the season wasn't there, but he was getting results, picking up points all the while and keeping himself there. Now, all of a sudden, McLaren are again imploding. You got Piastri whining as if there's something wrong with his car. At the end of the day, he's just had his confidence has been hit, and he just doesn't.
Bodies, haven't they?
Yeah, it's like he doesn't know what's happening now. It's nothing different with the car. It's just that he's not got the confidence anymore. He's just looking at it going, "Oh, it's someone else's fault. Someone else." Typical race driver.
Quite interesting.
It's always someone else's fault.
Remember, we spoke about this. We spoke about this about a month ago or 2 months ago, and we were both saying how Piastri was better than Lando overall, we thought, and was kind of really showing that as soon as he had the chance, that Piastri was quicker, he was would do better. But to be fair, Lando has fought back, and ever since that he lost those 34 points, he has fought himself back, hasn't he? And my money's on Lando. I think to get the title. I think if he keeps going like this. Next couple of races, I think he could do it
straight, because he's somehow managed to get his head straight, hasn't he? And he's no longer that. What's that? As a FP1 Will channel. He's like comedy reviews he does of F1, and he had the bottle counter, and it was for Lando Norris, because he would be fast on a Friday, and then he'd be fast on a Saturday, and then the last 2 laps of qualifying he'd bottle it and end up like 8th on the grid or something stupid like that. And then he'd bottle it at the start and bottle it in the race. And like you say, Piastri was just calm and kept it going, a little bit more aggressive with overtaking. And he seemed to be well on his way to his championship, didn't he?
Yeah.
And then something changed. Something changed after...
It's been since Hungary, isn't it? Hungary and Monza. Just those little decisions with changing drivers around. It's got in Piastri's head. That's all it is. It's just those little decisions, even though they may have had a little meeting afterwards and said, yeah, all right, that's all okay. But it's got in his head. It's got in his head that he doesn't know whether he's going to be allowed to do what he wants to do, a race. He's always thinking in the back of his mind, have I got to swap back, or what's going to happen here? And that's when you get a seed of doubt, that's it. That's done him now. Norris now thinks, well, I've got nothing to lose. But that may now change again. Now he's in the lead of the championship.
Exactly.
He may suddenly now go, oh God, and now Piastri might be thinking, I've got nothing to lose. So depending on how it keeps switching around. But the trouble is when you keep doing that, you've got another driver there who's slowly creeping up on you, because one driver's not given him priority. Now, no matter what, we all want that to happen, but usually in F1, a team will decide by the halfway point of the season if a driver has got a good clear gap, if they're fighting for the title, they then they concentrate on that driver. Now, if we go by what it is today, was about 10 races, 10, 11 races is the halfway point. Piastri had a good, healthy lead. And it's surprising. And McLaren, well, they didn't learn from last year, did they? Because Lando still had a chance to win the title, but they just allowed him to fight.
They gave a race away. They gave a race away to Piastri,
and they kept fighting. Really Lando's. When it could have been a chance that Lando could have took it to the last race, but again, they could throw it away this year, and I don't get it.
And they have got this weird system, haven't they, where they want to keep it all fair and all that kind of stuff. So, but they're ruining. I mean, they've got the the constructors championship already, but the drivers' championship. Really, that's the one that has all the headlines, isn't it? They should be wanting to get that as well, and they're hamstringing themselves with these weird and wonderful. They've done a great job with the car, but with actually running the team, what the hell's going on? It's crazy. It's absolutely cool. And then, of course, along comes Mad Max. Who's? I mean, I know the guy's a nutter on the track and does some dodgy moves, but my goodness, he's
so reliable. He just once he gets out there, it's as you see, he never makes mistakes. Hardly ever makes mistakes at all. Once it's so reliable and on form. Yeah, it's quite a.
I mean, he thinks he does. Was it the last race or the one before where he was saying, well, I made some mistakes and this happened and that happened, so I couldn't catch up. And I'm thinking, where? I didn't see them.
Yeah.
To him, a mistake is like he loses the 10.
That's the difference between a 3-time world champion and other drivers who will never be a champion.
Yeah.
It's just
Ian has said he thinks that Max will win both races this weekend. Now, I'm watching a video earlier by Kyle Illman, who's one of the photographers for F1. And he's got a big F1 channel, actually. He's quite interesting, an Australian chap. And he reckons that Max will have a very strong chance this weekend, especially if it's wet, because he won from 17th on the grid last year. But he did say that the McLarens were better this year than they were last year. So it might be a bit closer. And he reckoned that Lando would be second and Piastri might be third or fourth, depending on the recent form. So it's going to be interesting. But then the next race, which I think is Vegas, after that, it's the Vegas Grand Prix, he reckons that Lando will be very strong there. So that could be an interesting one as well.
Yeah.
But it's funny though that I mean, we all know that when someone becomes world champion, they tend to take the number one spot in the media coverage as well, aren't they? Because they're always kind of there. But I don't think Max has been as loud as I thought he would be. In terms of he is quite. They don't kind of follow him as much as they maybe did with Lewis Hamilton when he won, when he was going through those numbers of victories. Maybe perhaps because it was more controversial the way that Max got his first. But I mean, although I will say that Lewis Hamilton's, I think his kind of what we call it, his kind of following maybe isn't as strong as it was. I think his influence has maybe died down a bit. Now that might change if he starts doing well for Ferrari. But what do you think? I'll go to you first. Do you think that Max has had the same kind of influence as maybe other world champions? In terms of the media coverage and all the kind of stuff that goes on.
I don't really know, because he was topping all the headlines when he was being controversial, and now he's kind of like settled down a bit, hasn't he? But he's still very, very fast. Like you say, Lewis is in all the headlines because he seems to have lost his edge.
Yeah,
whatever edge he had. I think he lost it a couple of years ago, actually. So when he was still in Mercedes and partnering, and Russell was beating him soundly in most situations. But Max. Thing about Max is, I don't think he's that bothered by Formula One, if that makes any sense. He's a very competitive person. He likes to race. He enjoys a good fight. He's a bit like Schumacher in that respect. Schumacher always enjoyed a good fight, didn't he? And he was very canny with the way he went about racing, and also a little bit dodgy sometimes. But Max, I think Max is going to walk away soon. He's not going to keep going until he's in his 40s. He wants to do other stuff. That's why he did the Nürburgring. Did the Nürburgring race, didn't he? The Nordschleife. Special license there, and he just destroyed everybody there. He wants to do other stuff.
Yeah.
So, I don't think he's that bothered.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I think you're right with that.
Do you know what I mean? He's just like.
What do you think, Simon? Do you think that Max has the same kind of influence over F1 as other world champions?
Well, I think with Max, I mean, you look at the difference between Max and Lewis, as you've been speaking about. With Lewis, he loves his social media. He loves being out there and so forth. That's one of the reasons why he had a big influence. He'll go to the big events, the red carpet events, and represent Formula One in a way. Max doesn't do that. He likes to get on his sim rig and do some sim races the night before a race. I think he's a bit of a family man, a bit more more that way, and likes to sit in the sim rig and have a bit of fun. Yeah, exactly. I think she's either pregnant or they had a child. She's had one, hasn't she? But yeah, so I think now he's had a child. It does change a man. It changed Nico Rosberg. It changed Seb Vettel, I think. And I think he will go and think, no, I don't want to do this anymore. He's already been saying, I don't think he'll go on for that long. I think Lewis may go on for another couple of years and he'll leave at the same time.
Yeah, you just wonder, isn't it?
Because, I mean, I just don't understand why Fernando keeps going on and why he doesn't do...
He's the determined Spanish driver.
Yeah, he's just hoping, please, Adrian, design me a car that's quick. If that car is not quick within 2 races next year, he'll be gone.
Yeah,
it's. But,
I just think it's hilarious. He keeps destroying Stroll, or as that other channel calls it, the special. The special.
I know he does crash into people. Poor old Stroll. I mean, he can't help but go into folk, and even when he's being lapped, causing all sorts of issues. It's kind of like it's like the old De Cesaris type kind of incidents of things happening, and he keeps going, isn't it? That no, it's quite a thing. I do laugh because when I watch Kyle Illman on YouTube, and he does all the pictures for Formula One, and he also and then he does his kind of descriptions and kind of writes up the races as well. And he always has Hamilton in his outfits that are not obviously when he's in his race suit, and he wears these kind of ridiculous outfits are obviously pure fashion type things, but everything he's worn over the last number of years when he comes to the Grand Prix, and one he looked like a bear. It was a kind of like bear kind of wool type thing on this kind of, it was a kind of suit and that, but it was quite funny. Now Ian is saying that Kota, of course, the Circuit of the Americas was the worst Grand Prix. Yeah, because normally we get quite a lot of overtaking there, and it can be quite good. I remember some very close races with Lewis in the past in the Mercedes. Some great battles, but it really was not that great.
Can I just go back to what I said at the start though? Yeah, overtaking doesn't necessarily make a race exciting.
Yeah,
you can get loads of overtaking. I've seen it happen. I've seen it happen before where they say, "Oh, there was so and so many 50-odd overtakes," and you've just watched a race and you thought, "Well, that was the most boring race I've ever seen in my life." You know, because the DRS just makes it look right. He's gone past. It's an overtake, but with no skill. Just because he's got within 1 second and he's then just breezed past. So the overtaking, it's like I said, I think it was just between, what was it, Russell and Verstappen? A little bit of a battle there, and Leclerc and Russell. Yeah. That was it.
What was the one? Well, Lando, did he not overtake for the win? I'm trying to think who won in. Oh no, it was, or was it Thingy who won? Who won in Kota again?
Verstappen won that.
Verstappen won that one. But because we were trying to get, because we were always trying. That's right, and it was Lando who overtook Russell. Wasn't it? I think was it one of the ones, or he tried to because he kept going on the outside at the end of the long straight, or the back straight, and we all said he needs to go on the inside to kind of get along past him, because the outside you could just come right across and push him off. Right. And after about an hour of trying, he did it. So it was a kind of one, but then he has gotten a lot stronger. So it was Max, saying that Max won that one, but no, it's interesting. I mean, to be fair, what I will say is that the cars are a lot louder than they used to be. When you consider when they started in 2014, how quiet they were, But now actually the cars sound quite good. In fact, they sound quite revvy. I know they're nowhere near as high revs as the old V8s. But
if you're watching, can't hear them, because if you're listening on the BBC radio, you got that guy who likes to scream his head off, and then you got Crofty who likes to scream his head off, and you got the guy that's in the Formula One channel, and he just likes to scream his head off. And there's a bird on the track. Oh my goodness! Look, there's Tom. I'm so excited. Shut up. Apparently, for the Formula One channel, F1 TV, which we can't get in Britain.
Yeah, it's on YouTube. You get it on YouTube. They're quicker to do the reviews than the Sky usually.
Yeah, they do the reviews, but you can choose what car to follow, and you can even turn off the commentary. That's a good idea, because they don't. It's not like in the days when Murray and Brundle or Hunt used to tell you something useful. They just blither. They're worse than I am when I'm drunk. They're just annoying. So, everything about the way Formula One is put on the television.
And you never get an argument like you did with Murray and James.
Terrible. Yeah.
I still every now and again I rewatch that little quip where he's who was it that he was talking about, saying that he wasn't used to the non.
Oh yeah, me and Hugh were talking about that before we went live. Rennie knew, yeah.
And he goes, well, that just sounds like a box. And it's like, I
actually remember now he doesn't use that word. He uses another word.
A
male cow, and it's what it produces.
And it's not milk. Yeah, it's not milk. You know, as Diggle would say on the one that.
And it's just that moment of silence between him giving the microphone back to. You can just imagine him just saying that and just going like that, giving the microphone back to Murray, and Murray going, well, all right then.
What was it that? Because sometimes he was smoking a joint. When it James would be smoking a joint in there, and then he would
sometimes he would never turn up, because I know Murray always would tell the story about the Belgian Grand Prix in '89, and he never turned up. So they were getting drivers in, and because Martin Brundle came, that was the first ever time he came up there, and they realised then that he was pretty good at commentating. He'd retired and walked up to the commentary box, and they got him in there for the rest of the race.
Now we've got lots of people watching. We've got Drac Fury, we've got Ian, we've got Helen, we've got Ant, we've got Umar, and we've got many more in there, and Max as well. It's great to have you alongside. Let us know what you.
We have Max.
Oh, we have Max. Yes.
Hello, everyone.
People might be thinking, but it's great to see you all, and it's great to have you all alongside here on our F1 review. And Drac,
Drac. We need to scrap the pedal cars and get back to V10s.
Well, I'll just never forget that interview that they had. Remember when they were interviewing Lewis Hamilton at Abu Dhabi, and at the same time, Alonso was going around in his old Renault V10 of, I think, was it 2005, and the noise. He actually stopped the interview just so that they could hear the cars. They went by and said that the sound's so good, it needs the tune. I think a big part of F1 is the tune, is the sound, and it was deafening. It was amazing. It was a symphony of engines. It wasn't. It was something special. And I think that's why.
Yeah, I was at Silverstone the first year. They had the hybrids, and I was just in shock because the GP2 and GP3 ones were louder than the F1 cars, and these things coming around were just like tractors.
Yeah,
and I thought, God, this is awful. I mean, I knew it was bad on TV, but I kept thinking I'll be better when I'm there. I'll be better when I'll be there. But it was awful. It was only good because, again, that proves, because I never watched F1 in the 80s, even though I know a lot about it in terms of rewatching it. I never saw the chase Mansell chasing Piquet down. When Hamilton, because he qualified out of position a little bit, because obviously Mercedes were dominating that year. But I think he either had a grid penalty or something like that, and he qualified 6th. He had to get past a few other cars. Then he was after Rosberg, and after the first stops, it was starting to get exciting because we could visually see the gap coming down every lap, and the crowd were actually getting behind this. It was like a Mexican, not in terms of a wave, but of a roar, as you knew they were coming round, and they were all willing him on. We were as well, and it was spoilt by the fact that Rosberg had an engine problem or whatever he had, because when he did come round and the engine note had gone, and you knew he was going to retire. But I thought, oh God, we've been. At the end of the day, you want Hamilton to win, but I was robbed of a great battle there. because it was just going to be to see what was going to happen. He was catching, but he was using his tyres up to catch. So I don't think he had long. Was Rosberg going to be as strong with him as Hamilton was with Rosberg at Bahrain that year, at stopping him getting by? So we were sort of robbed. I thought I was really going to see a Mansell Piquet sort of modern version, but didn't get quite to see it. But just for that brief, about 7 or 8 laps, we were all, like you say, I was physically counting the seconds as he was going back the gap in between the two, and I was going, oh God, he's getting. I was my dad next to me. I say, that's one more second. That's 2 seconds. He's caught up more than that. But but the only disappointing thing was the engine noise, and it never got better. The last year I went was 2019. It never got better. The noises were always
quite quiet because they found I was at Silverstone last year, and it was in the wet on the Saturday, and they had the Mercedes car of that year going round, and it looked phenomenal. I mean, the speed was incredible. It just zipped by. I did a short, and I could barely keep my camera as it went past.
I saw it the following day. You were there on the Saturday, weren't you? And I was there on the Sunday. You had the wet day, and I had a dry day. But when I see them, they just don't excite me. But when I saw my 90s cars come out and going around, there was a Williams, it was Villeneuve's from 97, I think. So FW18, if I remember rightly.
A great noise,
and the noise coming from that, and he wasn't fully pelting it. It was still 10 times better than that hybrid. And I was more excited by watching that. And the year before I went, there was Berger's old McLaren in Senna's livery. From 92, so a V12 engine. So seeing the V12 engine go around.
V12
92. So he was giving it a bit of welly as well. He was getting more and more confident as each lap went on, and the sound was really, impressive.
Yeah, they were special. They were special, weren't they? It was something. I mean, there were rumors with the new boss, wasn't it? Of the FIA. He was saying, will we eventually go back to a V10 or something like that for maybe 2029?
Yeah, they were talking about it, weren't they?
Yeah, because I think they do realise that there's been a big split in the support for F1. I think the younger generation is kind of used to the V6s because that's what most of them have seen over the last 10, 12 years. But for us who have seen well before that, we're thinking, goodness, it's missing. It is missing so much. And if it got some of that back, just with a better engine.
But more youngsters are being introduced to those older cars at these events like the Silverstone Festival and other things, and they're hearing the sound and thinking, "Well, this is 10 times better than it's not as good on my ears, but it's still 10 times better." Whether it'll happen, I don't know. But also, car manufacturers are now, some of them, going the other way. They're not. They don't want to produce electric cars now. They're going back to combustion engines. So
Alfa Romeo, after promising they were going to go full electric, now in their Stelvio have brought back the diesel because they did a petrol hybrid and they were going to do an electric, but I think they've had to abandon ship on that. And I noticed you could lease a new one with a 2.2 turbo diesel. It's actually more expensive to lease a Stelvio, which is about 50 grand, than a brand new Land Rover Defender, which is about £600 a month. And that was about £800 a month. It just shows you, a bit what's out there. But they are bringing back, because people realize they can't make any money out of the electric. And it's just not viable. People just don't want it. Many people tried an EV for a while.
Yeah,
and then
that's the only thing Naked Gun 2.5 got wrong. I don't know if you've ever seen that film. And the bit where a long time ago, where the evil guy is showing what in the future they're going to have these super windows, and we do have super windows these days, and light bulbs that use only part of the power. And he said, electric cars, well, yes, we do, but these had solar panels on them. But ours don't have that. They aren't powered by the sun. You've still got to plug them in and get them off the national grid. So that's the difference. That's the only bit they got wrong.
Dig up all of the minerals and you still produce them things. And
the depreciation.
Get rid of them afterwards. And it's toxic.
I watched the Jeff Buys Cars video recently, and they were doing depreciation on a Volkswagen. Is it the Caravan? Or no, it's not the car. It's the other one.
The
Transporter. There was the Transporter van that they had, and you could buy a new Transporter van diesel for about 33 grand, and the electric was about 48 or something, or 45,000. And after 3 years, with about 22,000 miles, it was worth 8,000 at auction. They could barely get 8,500 at auction, and the Transporter diesel was worth about 28. You know, I mean, it's got incredibly low depreciation for a van.
And people can't sell them. You know, when they buy them, they can't sell them afterwards. They can't get rid of them.
It was astonishing. But at least we know that
where he's going through he's going through that Facebook. There's a sort of an electrics keep burning Facebook group or something, and he's one video he did a couple of weeks ago where he's going through all these people talking about their fantastic electric cars. One was a photograph of some, I can't remember what it was, some
12 stops to London from.
Well, no, this one was on the
12 days to London.
This one was on the back of a low loader for the 8th time. He's had it a year.
Oh goodness!
And it's on the back, going back to be fixed again for the 8th time. And he doesn't know what's going to happen when it runs out of warranty because it's ridiculous amount of money.
It's spoiled. Yeah, it's. I feel for the manufacturers because companies like Fiat and Alfa, they made good sports cars. Fiat made great cheap cars, but you can't make money out of cheap cars anymore because of all these electric regulations. And it's the same in F1. You're not really getting the small teams anymore because they've got they have to have a big budget. You've got to go, so many regulations. It's getting very stringent. Although I think this idea that F1 is trying to be sustainable and all, using these sustainable fuels because they're actually really dodgy. I mean, the amount of money and energy it takes to create these things is quite something. And it's Formula One. It's not supposed to be. I mean, it's supposed to be efficient.
Meanwhile, they've got 500 trucks and airplanes going all over the world taking them everywhere.
Try and do it. We're not fooled by this.
Yeah. Are they on sustainable fuels?
Let's hope the planes aren't. But it's kind of yes, we want it to be the best. It's expensive. But it's insane technology that eventually kind of trickles down into our cars, and it's like that's what makes it so amazing. And they've just tried to fool us with.
They portray these sustainable fuels as sustainable, but they have to grow the carbohydrate to turn into a fuel. Whatever it is, and then that takes energy as well, the chemistry of it and all that kind of stuff. And when they're growing these things, it's like any farm. They're not. It doesn't promote nature. It promotes a monoculture in a massive field, and then that has to be transported to a chemical plant to be turned into something. Then that has to be and it's just a joke. That it's the same with electric cars. They keep saying, "Oh, it's going to save the environment." It does no such thing.
Yeah.
There's no such thing. It's worse.
Similarly, you're supposed to have done 80,000 miles on an electric car before it has any chance
I wouldn't say it was worse. It's just as bad in a different way.
Yeah, and you can't recycle them. It's very difficult to recycle
in a different way. No matter which way we go. I mean, like I remember reading something. I watched something about the Japanese back in the 1920s. Worked out how to run cars on water.
Yeah.
You could do it by seawater, and everything. But we never, because no one can make money out of that. So they never went with that technology. Keep with the oil, because people can make money with oil or whatever, with electric and so forth. Even with electric, we're not saving loads and loads of money. We're still paying for it. I mean, you see people, businesses putting solar panels on their roofs. On houses, it'll pay back after some. Yeah, but the initial outlay is so much.
Take 10, 15,
it's going to take. God knows, your business might go under by the time.
And how long do these things last?
I mean, for example, on the property I live, we have a solar panel. It's run by an oil boiler. It's like a type of oil that goes through these pipes. But it's gone wrong. The oil's gone wrong. In the sense it's got stuck somewhere. But that technology. The company, the chap who came to service the boiler the other day, in terms of normal boiler, he said the company that for spare parts for your solar panel, they went bust. So we can't get the spare parts anymore. He said there's you're wrong next door, and there's one and a couple down for you as well that's gone wrong. And we've got loads in a town a little way from us, loads of them gone on there, and there's only 2 of us who know anything about them, but we can't do anything about it. He said, so they'll just sit there. He said, we've had one house replace it with an electric one, which works by electric power come from the ground or whatever, and feeding it up that way. And through the
like a heat pump.
Like a heat pump sort of thing. But this solar is already old technology. It's defunct.
Yeah. Well, a lot of the companies went bust
wow.
when they gave the money to, because there was all so much money available for kind of green contracts. And of course, it was unproven technology and it wasn't really, a lot of the time it was dodgy. And it was mates of MPs getting the contracts to do your insulation in your loft. And it was like
dodgy MPs.
No.
I will avoid that. I will avoid that.
Sorry.
That I thought what is quite good though.
They're all doing. I don't care what party they're in. They all do it. Look at them.
Although what was quite funny was that at Miami, I think it was Miami last year, where Lando won. He met Trump. Trump came along to see him before the start, and then he ended up going off to win the Grand Prix. So that was quite good, at least because nowadays, I mean, the British. I don't know if the Prime Minister would you think Starmer would go to the British Grand Prix. To say, to kind of, to do that. I could see Farage doing it, but I couldn't see Starmer doing that because he's got no pride to get booed off. I mean, it's
that's right. He would.
It was a thing, but it's like in some countries they have a much stronger. You can see the countries kind of behind it and wanting to support, like Brazil and these other places. There's such an incredible, enthusiastic crowd of people watching. It's like I love the Mexican Grand Prix in that terms of because the crowd there, the arena at Mexico looks amazing. When they finish the race and they have that incredible.
Mexico, they do it just at the right time. That the night of the dead, isn't it? When they celebrate that, it's a big festival going on at the same time. And they think, right, let's go to the Grand Prix as well. So I think that sort of mixes in all at the same time. They know when to host it. It seems to be perfect for it. So
it does seem to have atmosphere. It definitely Mexican Grand Prix definitely.
Yeah, it's very clever with that stadium how they done it. I mean, it was an awful corner, wasn't it? The Peraltada. How bumpy it was and dangerous, really.
That's where Mansell overtook Berger on the outside.
Yeah. I mean, we're never going to get that again, are we? But also, Senna had an arsey crash there.
Yeah,
and,
went upside down.
You always thought that maybe one day something bad could happen there, and how bumpy it was. So, but I mean, what they turned it into in that sort of Colosseum as such.
Yeah,
it's a shame it's such a tight, awkward bit where nothing really happens in the sense of cars are like, the track is about as wide as the car, and they're just. So slow, they might just spin round because there's no grip. But definitely the
it's one of the better ones, but definitely one of the better races overall. I think that have that big runoff when they go around the first corner, and there's always incidents there because they run wide over the grass and then join a bit later on.
They need gravel there again. This is a big thing for me. Too much tarmac runoff or gravel to make sure because they know they can get away with it.
Yeah. And it was, I mean, to be fair, I know Lewis got that penalty, but he didn't slow down. He cut such a lot when he came back on, and he was so far ahead that he really should have slowed down and at least made an effort to kind of.
If he'd have made an effort and said, right, I'll give the place back or do something, he wouldn't have got a penalty. But you got to think sometimes: do I risk a penalty and lose a lot, or do I just give one place back and not get the penalty? Use your common sense.
Because Leclerc pushed it.
Ferrari should be on the radio going, "What's he got to do to not get a penalty?" That's all they got to say to the FIA at the time or the stewards. What's he got to do? Because he obviously couldn't slow down, physically couldn't because the cars like that. What do you want to do? You want to give us a place back? Or what do you want to do without getting a full penalty? And they would probably say, just give the place back. And then he would have been able to continue on his way. But it's all right saying, I couldn't stop. Well, unfortunately, you have cut right across. And I mean, but you look at it, it's a stupid way of trying to keep, how you're supposed to keep those wide cars when they're not. I think
on there, isn't it? There should be a tarmac strip, maybe halfway through, so that and it was a very narrow bit when you saw where they were supposed to go. It looked like a footpath rather than an actual.
I couldn't see how a car was going to go through.
Yeah.
Because obviously I was watching the highlights and I'd already heard that he got a penalty, and I thought, this is what he's got a penalty for, isn't it? And I thought, Verstappen's clearly gone across the chicane. At the start of the race, what happened at the start and everything, and no one's got a penalty there. It's you don't mind these rules if they're consistently put down for everyone, but if you're going to say one thing, because it's on this corner, well, you gain more on that first corner than you do on that corner, in my opinion, because the corner that Hamilton went off on gained probably less than what other drivers did on the first.
And Leclerc, he had a huge advantage, and they never really pushed on him. But he did a fairly dodgy move. I mean, Hamilton was coming up, and I think we would have gone into second place. He was right up there, but he kind of gave way to Leclerc on that, and then Leclerc took that huge advantage by cutting across. It was quite interesting. Do you think? And this is my hunch, and it is just a hunch, But I think Ferrari could be very strong next year. I think maybe they've got that little. Maybe it's the Americans have decided it's Ferrari's time to dominate next year and reset everything. So it's you're just going to wonder. It seems to go in different teams, isn't it? That I just wonder whether that Ferrari might be a bit better. It's getting a little bit closer. Stephen Scott, good, Scott. It's good to see you. That he's watching. He's been lurking there in the background. Let us know your thoughts, Scotty. It's good to see you. That we're talking all things F1 and a good bit more as well. But yeah, I think that Ferrari could be quite good because they tend. I think with Hamilton there, his influence must be pretty strong, and he is good at getting cars on his side or getting teams on his side. So you kind of wonder, will it be he did it very well at Mercedes. He made a very good move to Mercedes when a lot of people thought it wouldn't work. But he did it and he pulled it off.
He had the right. Difference is he had Brawn, Nicky Lauda.
That's true.
The right people there, and obviously Toto Wolff. But he hasn't got that Ferrari, and that's the problem. I know Ferrari's very much. They like to keep it in-house, Italia and so forth. Because obviously in the days when John Barnard had those 2 spells with them, he never liked going to Italy, did he? He liked to have his workshop or his base in England. Yes, he designed good cars for them, but that generally didn't work very well, and it never did sort of settle. That they're very protective, aren't they, over their heritage, and don't like other people coming in, except for when Schumacher obviously probably went and said, I'm only coming if I can bring Ross Brawn. What's the other chap's name? Rory Byrne. And Jean Todt was already there, and there was
Jean Todt was already there.
And the other chap who was the designer, I can't remember his name, who got done as part of the cheating thing. Pat Simmons. Those 3 that went with him. And that's the reason why within only just after 1 season he had a car capable of winning the title, even though he didn't. The right people, but I just don't think Lewis has got the right people there. That's why it was important that maybe he did take.
I don't agree that he's very good at getting teams on his side and setting cars up. I think he's a bit thick, actually. He's had a good team around him. Who could set the car up.
That's why he needed to take people who he knew. As well, and he hasn't done that. And yes, he's got what's the face back, Angela Cunn. From a fitness point, he's probably as fit as anything. But
he's got Hollywood stars to help him now, and Instagram creators to give him guidance as to win F1 titles. So...
He can start rapping as he goes along. I was like in the car, innit?
There you go, Scotty agrees with you, Hugh. Look, there you go. Read what Scotty says. He agrees with you.
When they handpicked a champ to end the best season ever. Yes. Oh my goodness me. It was. Do you remember that night, that Sunday night, and the level of frustration and anger on that night? Because it's not like we didn't want. You can be fair to drivers saying if it was a competitive race and they had a battle and then the right driver won.
I remember thinking I didn't mind. Because I thought Verstappen deserved it over the course of the season, but at the same time I thought, well, I don't mind if Hamilton wins. I didn't really mind. But how it was done, I thought it was disgusking. I stood there and I just thought, well, this is a joke. This is really
too much interference.
You can't interfere like that. You're just saying, right, let's have a 1-lap shootout. Well, no, it doesn't work like that. If the rules are being rules, yes, all right, it ends under a safety car, But you don't change the rules to suit. But, at the end of the day, I still say TV and owners force that, we're on phone calls telling them what to do. I don't. Yes, I think he was made the scapegoat, because he's the public face of it, Massey. But, I think, it was wrong.
Yeah, I'm just quickly writing do you think, as for our viewers, do you think that moment in that race has actually split F1 support permanently?
You first, Rue.
So say again.
After that occasion, it really annoyed a lot of people. I think the older generation.
Oh, I think, yeah.
Do you think that is a permanent split? Because I don't think they've been able to restore it. Really, I think there's a lot of people who are still fed up.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a it was a knife in the back of real supporters. But they've been doing that with Drive to Survive, Codswallop, and everything they're doing. Everything they're doing is to please and keep this new massive audience they've got of idiot football supporters. I mean, they're literally like the worst kind of football supporter, but they're supporting Formula One. Whereas we can watch a race and we might be a fan of somebody and want them to win, but we will appreciate a good, hard race and it'll be interesting. Yeah. Now, just that there's a series of words that as soon as I see it or hear it, I switch off and I don't care. Hater, fanboy,
infamous
and it
terms.
it doesn't matter who it was. It's Vettel. Oh, you're a Vettel fanboy. Oh, you're a Hamilton fanboy. Just get stuffed. Go away. I don't.
You want to enjoy the sport.
I like Formula One. I like the racing. I mean, I supported. I used to support David Coulthard. I thought he was. I liked him.
Yeah, he was good.
Damon Hill and all this kind of stuff. And now, what's the latest one now? Oh, the biased British media. Oh, get stuffed. Just really. Go away, all of you.
I think it's money because Britain has massive support in F1.
Yeah. Yeah. And do they have a go at the Tifosi media and the Italian media, who are quite clearly biased towards Ferrari?
No.
Of course, the British media are going to be biased towards British teams and British drivers.
Media, exactly.
Probably some Max. Maybe I can understand where Max is coming from because he doesn't really have a big country where media are a big thing for his sport, to get behind him. And maybe I can understand where he's coming from because the Ferrari press won't get behind him. The British press won't get behind him. So I can understand where he's coming from, where he is from a personal point of view. But I don't see where other people worries them. But I can understand where he's come from because he comes from a small country that maybe, they only suddenly got into it because he's there, which is understandable because he's the only one. But even their attendances has now been going down, and they've lost their contract, haven't they? And it's thinking because, he's not in the title fight, and you think, blimey, he's only he's not that far off, It's sad, really.
I mean, how many years did Mansell not win? But look at the turnout.
Even in the days when he was at Ferrari, they always turned out. He was never anywhere near a title fight. But I must admit, I remember '93. That's when they noticed a big drop off.
When
Hill
couldn't quite. Because Hill he didn't win in Silverstone. He won in Hungary and he won in Spa and he won in Italy,
Hungary, Spa, and Italy. Yeah, that's right. Triple sort of, and he should have won in Germany, and he should have won at Silverstone if the engine hadn't gone. So in theory, they would have been 5 races, and he could have been a title contender.
Yeah.
Williams didn't really get behind him, though, did they? I mean,
no, they never were going to. I mean, say if he'd have won those 2, Prost would have been soon saying, right, he's had his 2. I need to make sure I got this title cleared up first, please. I think that's what he said at Portugal. I think he said, look, hang on a minute, I've got to win this title. I didn't want Senna in the team, but I didn't want someone else who's going to take it from me. Because all the time, Hill, as soon as he got to like France, Canada and France, he was matching Prost, if not slightly quicker.
Yeah, he was threatening him.
Especially over a race pace. He was a younger man, but you knew Prost had a guaranteed title because it was Renault engines, or fuel, and that's what he'd gone there for.
Yeah. Now here's a question for you: if for any of the current Formula One drivers, if you were in an airport departure lounge and you'd got a first class ticket to go somewhere rather nice for Christmas, and you could choose which F1 driver you could sit there and speak to for half an hour, who would it be? I'll come to you first, Simon.
Current F1 drivers?
Yeah, so a current F1 driver who's competing in the 2025 season.
Christ almighty.
It'll be Lance Stroll, isn't it?
Only if he gives me a percentage of his dad's money.
That's really difficult because I don't really like I say, I just enjoy the racing. I don't follow any, I don't support really any. I mean, George Russell's a local boy for me, but I think he's a stuck-up little so-and-so. I don't like him as a person. I don't like him as a person.
Yeah.
I know sometimes you can make sure he comes across all right, but I think if I met him, I wouldn't like him at all.
Yeah, I like Lando. I think Lando looks like a good kind of fun guy. I think he would be quite a laugh. He likes the game as well. He likes to play his sim racing.
Yeah, he likes to be that. I think if I suppose so because he's nearer my age, Fernando.
Yeah. Fernando would be interesting.
The others are all too young.
He's got that history, hasn't he? And he can connect all the years that we've
and you
seen.
can talk about the older years and blah 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 and the history where the others you can't.
I think Max would be really interesting.
Stop.
Yeah, I think Max.
Blue flag.
Peter, stop. We had a good Peter, stop.
But it's going to be something. I wonder whether Adrian Newey's influence will be seen on next year's car. I think that could be if it does, it's going to really throw a spanner in the works, because it could, if they have come out with a really competitive car, then that would be something. I mean, remember it was a couple of years ago they basically copied the Mercedes. It was like the green Mercedes. Remember they copied all like the basic aero and everything.
Done for it as well, didn't they?
Or something. Well, there were a few kind of issues, but I think they got away with it in the end. But they were very good for the first half of the season, and then it kind of dropped off as cars kind of improved throughout the year.
Wasn't Fernando on the podium in the first few races? And
yeah. I mean, suddenly thought, goodness, they've pulled off a blinder with that.
I think they got away with it by being told you're not allowed to develop the car.
Probably.
I would say. I should think Mercedes said, "Look, we'll let you get away with it, but you're not allowed to develop it. So make sure we catch up and go ahead of you," because that sort of explains the tail off. Disappearing from, because they literally went to the back of the grid. They were like fighting for 12th and 13th, weren't they? Compared to
I would have done it halfway through the season. I would have copied the Red Bull car and come up with a new update.
Yeah,
so it's like, well, now that we've done this one,
next year is going to be a bad year for Formula One, because the idiots that wrote the rules has probably never actually seen a spanner in their life or know anything about cars. I mean,
well, it's supposed to be Ross Brawn doing these sort of things, so you'd like to think it's the right person.
I know, but I don't think he's the one that went right. We're going to have it. 50% of the power is going to come from the battery, which will run out halfway down a straight.
That will be fun. Yeah, it'll be interesting. Yeah, what they've been talking. Yeah, I know what you mean with that.
They've had to design the control systems in such a way that it reduces the power as it runs out, like over 7 seconds, so you don't suddenly brake test the guy behind you. Imagine someone slipstreaming and suddenly go because they've got no power left.
Well, it's a bit like what happened
30 mile an hour.
Bit like what happened with Nico Rosberg and Hamilton at Spain that year, when they
he suddenly caught up in it. He just suddenly
his energy harvesting light started flashing. Obviously, Hamilton had a great run on him, but obviously Rosberg blocked him. Hamilton had nowhere to go. But that's what causes the issue, isn't it? That sudden overspeed, and you haven't got time to react.
And it's going to be, but I mean, they're going to be losing something like 20, 30 mile an hour. A lot. It's not a small change, So, just why? And they're so heavy.
Yeah.
The trucks.
And we've got Cadillac as well coming in, haven't they? Cadillac's coming in. And Audi. Audi's coming in next year, where it's taking over Sauber. And then Cadillac the year after.
Well, I can't remember a time when a new engine manufacturer came into F1 and was successful straight away.
Yeah.
Look at Honda when they came back.
Yeah.
It took them ages to get around. How many years? Failed with McLaren. It wasn't until they went with, what was it, Toro Rosso or whatever they were called.
They went to Red Bull.
Yeah, well, Braun were using Mercedes engines, weren't they? They because Honda sold it for a pound.
Yeah. For a pound, but they set it up and they set the car up and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
but
proves how much of a great car that would have been, wouldn't it? Yeah, I mean, they must have been kicking themselves.
Yeah, I always thought they left too early. They left too early.
They keep doing it though, don't they? They keep going. Yes, we're committed to Formula One now, and then we don't want to do it anymore. then like a year later or 2 years later, they go, we should go back. Well, why did you leave? What the hell?
Yeah.
It was like that with 92 in Senna, McLaren. The only mistake they made was because they went to V12. They stuck with V10s and just kept developing that. They would have been probably up there with Renault. But because they went for a heavier engine, and a V12 which wasn't producing the power weight ratio that was competitive enough, and that was the problem.
Yeah, and then '93 they went to V8s, and look what Senna did with a Ford V8.
Yeah, a Ford V8.
I mean, it's incredible. But I have to remember, because I was at that race at Donington in '93, and when they did,
I knew he was going to say that in the stream. That was on my bingo card. He was going to mention he was at Donington in 1993.
It's the only one I can, so I have to reiterate that. But
I wish I was there, mate. I tell you, even though I would have been absolutely freezing.
Oh, it was
I wouldn't have liked that. Being 12 years old, I was only 11 actually. I wasn't quite 12, but I wouldn't have been happy that day.
Birthday. And I remember it because even the warm up lap was so loud, you had to put your hands to your ears when the Renaults went past, when the V10s went past. But the only car that had this melody of sound that was, I mean, it was lovely to hear. The other cars were good to hear, but they were kind of harder. They were kind of edgier sound, especially the Renault V10s. But the V12 Ferrari, it was just an incredible sound. It was much easier on your ears.
Really? No. I mean, I remember at Silverstone the year before. I was we were standing at Maggots.
Yeah.
And I had to, we eventually found some earplugs, but even when I had my earplugs in, I was like, they were like so high pitched, the V12.
Oh, I loved it. I thought it was
I didn't.
Orchestra.
The Ferraris.
You sent me a video of them, and I didn't really like the sound. It's too screechy.
Oh,
especially the Ferraris for some reason.
The
Honda V12 was much better, I thought. But anyway.
Yeah, the Honda V12 did sound
Ferrari
good,
one.
to be fair.
Yeah.
Max has said the Lamborghini V8 sounded good as well. Yeah, because they used to power. Was it like Minardi or different teams throughout the 90s, didn't they? They had a Lamborghini.
But it was always that talk they were going to. McLaren looked at them, didn't they? In a test in '93,
and they went for
Senna was impressed, but again, they were never that reliable, were they? So that was always what McLaren were worried about.
Yeah, that's right. Max said it was LaRousse that they. Yeah. These are all these great names. LaRousse, there was Minardi, there was there was the kind of
Scuderia d'Italia, Dallara.
Dallara was there, and all sorts of things, and they were sometimes 2 or 3 seconds off the pace, and they had lots of different drivers that would come in because those years it was still pre-qualifying. Yeah,
Pacific Grand Prix, remember them?
Pacific.
They were rubbish as well.
And Midland and
Simtech.
Also Simtech, poor thing. Simtech, that was a disaster. Well, that was a terrible thing with
40.
Simtech, wasn't it? Yeah, 40. Yeah. That was bright yellow. Wasn't it?
Tyrrell was still with us as well, then, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, Alesi put
98 last year.
Because they had because it was just after Damon Hill. I always remember that when Damon Hill nearly won in Hungary in '97, wasn't it? And he had engine problems, or he had problems with his car in the last lap, and Villeneuve overtook him. And because he'd overtaken Schumacher at Hungary in this Tyrrell. It was the one where
Arrows.
So it was the Arrows. Sorry, it was the Arrows. Yeah. I forgot.
Arrows Yamaha. They had a
Yamaha. Yeah, that
Tom Walkinshaw.
Yeah,
Tom Walkinshaw. But
I always used to link Yamaha engine, Yamaha to keyboards.
Yeah, that's it.
I used to see them at school, so I always thought engines as well. Interesting.
Yeah. Well, I like, if you like your bikes, if you see a Yamaha motorbike, the symbol is actually three tuning forks on the motorbikes.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. That's the thing. Yeah. So we're going to do this again.
They make some good engines because they had the Ford Taurus SHO V6 because Ford
not an F1.
No.
Yeah. But it's funny though, isn't it, how they can do it really well in motorbikes, but then they could be really successful in motorbikes. But F1, they just couldn't do anything.
Yeah. I suppose there's some fit and some don't, isn't it? That's the thing. Well, we've been going for nearly an hour, which is fantastic. And I think we've covered quite a lot of topics. Should we finish on our who we think is going to win the championship?
I was going to suggest that as well, Hugh. So I think that's a good idea. Yeah. Top 3.
Right. With that, Simon, I will go to you as to who you think is going to win the Formula One title, the 2025.
Oh, I thought you just about this weekend.
All right. I'm going for the big one.
Do both.
What do you think?
Do both.
Shall
we just do winners then? Okay, so for this weekend, I think Verstappen's going to win.
Okay.
Yeah,
and even though He's been struggling. I really want him to do it because I feel for him a bit at the moment. Piastri.
Okay.
Oh, the championship.
For the title. I just hope something just changes and it comes back to him.
How about you, Roo? What do you think for this weekend and then for the title?
Weekend, I agree with Simon. It's going to be Mad Max because he loves that track and he likes the wet and all that kind of stuff. For the title, I'm going to go with Norris, and it's going to be closely challenged by Max. Yeah, I think Max.
Yeah, after yeah. I'm going to
overtake Piastri. Piastri is going to be crying.
For this weekend, I was going to say Hulkenberg, but you just never know.
We'll sit here laughing, and we'll come back next time and go, "You should have put money on that, Hugh."
Yeah, I might just go on one of those sports betting and just say, right, I'm putting a tenner on Hulkenberg.
Fernando Alonso.
It must be a good return. That he was quite good in the wet, in that wet dry race in Silverstone, didn't he? He did quite well there. And
he's still quick because now and again he put some good qualifying. Performances together. He's got the pace. It's just whether he's got the thing for the long races now. And he give him a good car. I think he'll be all right. But
Max has said Stroll for pole.
But he has had. Did he get a pole or a second? Yeah,
in Belgium or something. He was on one during a wet race or something. But
when you get wet and it's drying, it's all about timing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Who goes out at the right time comes across the line last.
I'm going to say Lando's going to win this Sunday, and I think he will also win the title. So that's my view, but I'm usually proven wrong. So we'll see. That hopefully it's not been a curse. It's the commentator's curse, as they would say, on that. But at least it's three. I mean, when was the last time before races to go you had three potential? Well, actually, it's four if you count Russell. But considering he's got a mathematical chance of winning it. But yeah, I mean, he's 100 points behind or something. Yeah, Russell, considering he has a mathematical chance of doing it. But no, that's the thing.
If the three people in front of him crash in every single one of the races,
it is
maybe.
Oh, we'll see. But look, I want to give a big thanks to everyone who's been watching, and if you've been listening on the podcast as well, you've been listening to myself, Hugh Hattrick, and of course Simon Jerry, NCF1, and Roo, all the way from England. We're all in England now. Well, that's the thing. Normally it used to be Scotland. I used to represent Scotland. Oh no, you're in Wales. How did I get that one wrong? You're in Wales. I apologise.
Blooming Scotsman, you nuts.
I believe you. I actually passed my geography. I didn't pass my geography standard grade. I failed it. But there you go. But that was the one.
You just proved that.
Yeah, I think quite easily there.
We're all in France. Suddenly.
Well, no, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you both on the show this week for our F1 review, and hopefully we'll be up for doing another one. In fact, I think we should really try and do as many as we can, as often as we can. Certainly when after a race and before the next one, as Murray would say, to confuse everybody. But we'll look at the stopwatch or the start watch, or let's see what they used to come out with those great Murrayisms. But I'll let you speak to the audience, you two. First of all, Simon, what would you like to say?
Well, just thanks for listening and watching, folks. And like I say, I hope we keep this going regular, and we'll do some more. Definitely.
We'll look forward to your next jacket.
Yeah, next one. It'll be a different one, promise. And then I'll just have to alternate between the two.
And Roo, what would you like to say?
I would like to say that don't forget, DRS stands for doesn't require skill.
Very good. Very good. On that note, drive fast, don't crash, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching, and bye just now.
Bye-bye.
Ta-da!